You're welcome to Talk Point again on Lagos Television. My name is Omololu Rosanwo. Today on Talk Point, we shall be looking at politics and mobilization at the grassroots. There's no, we'll talk politics, that we won't talk about youth participation, that we won't talk about participation of other people, such as the male, the female, and the elderly ones, and even the society at large. That's what we'll be looking at today. And of course, we know that the youth also make up about 65% of the voting population in Nigeria, and their importance cannot be emphasized enough. That's what we'll be looking at today, and I have a guest in the studio that will be discussing that with me. I have with me here Lekan Oni, who's a public affairs analyst. Lekan, nice to have you on Talk Point.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here this afternoon.
Yes, let's talk about politics and grassroots mobilization. But what do you make of the youths when they come to governors as wanting to serve? Because this is also key. We say that the youths have that the future of tomorrow, that the ones that were expected to also take over from the elderly ones. Of course, they still need the wisdom of the youth, of the elderly ones. So in situations like this, what do you make of them in serving in public positions?
Well, in present day government and administration, we have seen how the government has been able to not just deploy the resources and the energy of the youth during campaigns or during elections. We have seen how the government of the day has been able to fix young people and to also ensure that they are also at the table where decisions are being made. I said that because if you look at what we have presently, either in Lagos State or at the federal level, you will see an appreciable number of young people in government circles also making decisions on their own, sitting with the elders, becoming leader. When you say that the youths are the leaders of tomorrow, I think that rhetoric is changing, because what we have presently, the youths are the leaders of today. They're in position of authority where they are also making decisions. They're in positions whereby they are also formulating policies, and then they are also in the positions whereby they are also partners in progress when it comes to the project Nigeria, when it comes to the project of Lagos State. So it is now that youths are also the leaders of today, because they are leading from the front presently.
Well, that position is arguable, yes, that they are the leaders of today.
Well, there are facts to back them up. If you look at the federal government, if you look at the central government, the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, an appreciable number of youths are in good positions. At least if you look at some of the ministers, some of the SSAs, some of the young ministers, some of the minister of states, we have SSAs, we have a whole lot of young people heading different MDAs, heading different agencies. And if you come back to Lagos as well, you can see a whole lot of young people in position of authority and power. So when you argue, I think that it is very important that we speak to facts and we look at, what has been presented before us.
Yes, in saying that, have they really made impact, or are they making impact? Because this is also very key. They seem to have joined the governance structure. Are they making the desired impact, or what are they lacking behind? That's another thing.
Well, it depends on the angle we are actually looking at it from. If you are looking at measurable results, let's bring it down to, so if you have a young person, for example, sir, as far as the youth demography in Nigeria is concerned, when we talk about youth, we can point to the current Minister of Interior as a youth in Nigeria. He clocked 44 years some days ago. And so, like I said, if you look at the categorization of youth in Nigeria, the Minister of Interior in Nigeria falls to the category of youth. Okay. And the question is that, is it doing well? Has it done well in office? And the answer is yes. Nigerians have applauded the reforms that we have recorded in the passport sector of Nigeria. Nigerians have applauded what we have experienced in the correctional sector of Nigeria, which was formerly prisons, Nigeria Correctional Service.
Yes.
We have also, Nigerians have also applauded what we have seen at our airports across the country, which is also under the infrastructure, whatever is also, some parts of it is also under the Ministry of Interior. So as a young person in office, those are measurable results. Those are evidences that young people in Nigeria, some of them being put into position of authority, they can deliver, and some of them are delivering. We can also say that the Minister of Youth, I also think that for the first time in our history in Nigeria, a young person is made the Minister of Youth in Nigeria. I don't know his precise age, but I know that he's around 40 years of age. And we have seen what he has done with that position that he is. In Lagos State here, I think Lagos State has one of the youngest council chairmen across the country. And we have seen what some of them are doing in office. And at the state level, we have a whole lot of young people who are commissioners, who are special advisors, who are SSA to the governor. And we have also seen the giant strides they are making in office. So for me, to a very large extent, I feel that they have lived up to expectations and they are doing well in office.
Okay, well, you are the advocate now, yes? We
because I'm a young person.
Because a young person,
yes.
We're all young.
Yes.
Okay, now, in situations like this, how do we now galvanize them? How do we bring them together to further get to the grassroots, to develop and to engage themselves right from the grassroots and mobilize themselves to further participate in politics and the electoral process?
What I have seen so far is that, we have mentioned names, I have mentioned some names of young people who have done well in office. But what I see in them is that majority of them prepared themselves, went to school, developed themselves, personal development, a whole lot of things they have input in themselves to prepare themselves for position of power. So first of all, I will advise that young people, in whatever way, in whatever legitimate way, they can prepare themselves for what is coming, because nobody knows tomorrow. We've heard stories of people who after preparation were waiting and the big opportunity came, and they took it very well. And by today, what we have now is that they are doing well in office. So the first step is that wherever you are, wherever you find yourself, whatever you are doing, start preparing for the opportunity that will come, because I believe that everybody will have an opportunity. So when you talk of galvanization, I also have seen that we are in Lagos. So let me use Lagos as a very good example. When it comes to politics and governance, I have seen that in Lagos pays so much attention to the young people politically. I have seen that recently, not recently, almost a year ago, Lagos State conducted its local government elections. And we saw that a whole lot of young people became councillors. A whole lot of young people became chairman. A whole lot of young people became the vice chairman. And now the cabinet at the grassroots level is formed, which are called the supervisory councillors and the special advisors. And we have also seen that in Lagos, the political, bigwigs, the leaders have ensured that youths are fixed into position, youths are elected as councillors and so on and so forth. And so how do we galvanize again? We galvanize by saying that, see, when you are prepared and when you participate, you are not going, when we say participation, because what we used to have before is that, when we talk about participation, is that because the youth has is the largest demography, so people put them out on the streets to say, oh yeah, come and campaign during elections, ensure you vote. And at the end of the day, once all of that goes away, the youth goes back on board. That has changed. That narrative has changed by, what I have mentioned earlier and all of that. So that's a very good example for young people. Now young people now know that when I participate, I will also become a leader. I will also sit at the decision table. I will also partake and have my own day and have my own opportunity to also sit at the table where decisions are being made. So that should be a motivation for young people. That should be an encouragement for young people to mobilize themselves. It is not enough to stay at the behind keypad and just type and waste time away and all of that, because there's no vacuum anywhere. When you don't participate, definitely some people will be there. The positions that we have mentioned when it comes to political governance, it cannot be empty. So when young people participate, with what we've seen, with what we have, we can see that your participation will not go unrewarded. So this has served as a motivation, as encouragement to young people to mobilize themselves. Apart from people calling them out, mobilize yourselves, arrange yourself, and know that when you participate either in campaign, in election, it won't end there. You also will have your day. You also will have your way at the table of decision.
Yes, since we're still on that mobilization, let's look at how they can further get involved in the electoral process.
Yes.
Because if you notice, last year in 2025, INEC came up with registration,
yes,
new registration.
Yes.
Yes, the phases are on.
Yes.
It has ended at some point, then
yes,
it started again. Now, it's starting very soon again.
Yes, the third phase.
2-3 phase,
yes,
days
yes,
for the third or fourth phase. Now, the third phase. Now, in situations like this, are they really moving out to tell their peers, to tell their people to go and register? And even if they are registered, are they mobilizing others to also get involved so that they can have say in governance through voting?
Let's establish this, that the first step to mobilization, the first step to participation in democracy, in our electoral process, is to register for your PVC. That's the first step. Because the truth of the matter is that if you shout from now till tomorrow, when you don't vote, the major option, the major opportunity to elect your leader is to vote,
yes,
not to even shout, not to even talk on social media. Talks on social media without voting is a waste. And with what will you vote? What will you vote with? With your permanent voter's card, PVC. So the first step to this mobilization, the first step to participation is to register to vote first. And after that, I've also always encouraged young people that, you see, this election we talk about starts from somewhere. And the very first stage where it starts from is within political parties. Is within political parties. So people shout and say, why will this social party give us a candidate that is not credible? Because we were not part of the decision making from the party level. So after you have registered as a voter, as an eligible voter, then you also need to participate to join a party. That's where I'm talking about the steps of...
Yeah, that's the vehicle that you can use, the platform that you can use,
yes,
to achieve
your aim.
Yes.
So if you say so political leader, and that's why we see that sometimes we see a whole lot of noise, and then the results after the noise is minimal. The reason why it is minimal is because the real steps, people don't follow it. When you register to be a voter, so we've seen from record a whole lot of people who shout everywhere. They don't even have PVC, unfortunately. And in a democracy, noise, shouts, agitations, protests, whatever, does not elect a leader. What elects every leader is at the ballot. You cast your vote with your PVC. So before you get to the general elections, there are elections within the party as well, which are called primary elections. These are the process. So when you join a party, you have the right to also say, this is a candidate that you want the party to field at the general elections. When you join a party, you also have a say within the party as a bona fide party member. So when we talk of mobilization, these are the process. When we talk of galvanizing young people, these are the process. And it is advisable that young people register to vote, they join a party, they become a participant in that party, and then move to the general election. We have also seen figures that in Nigeria, there is something called voter party, and it's serious. it's a very, very serious issue.
Yes,
So
that voter apathy, just hold on, I need to also break you there at some point. That voter apathy, some would say, is as a result of the votes that do not count, and that when they also want somebody there, the person is never voted for, or even if it's voted for, some at times they manipulate the figure, so discouraging them to continue in the process. Don't you think that could be another result of voter apathy, or possibly also the economy? Because most times when you see people on election days, rather than go to vote, they start playing football on the roads.
well, that's a very, that's out of ignorance, not just ignorance, but sheer ignorance. So when people say that they don't vote because different excuses, they don't vote because their vote does not count. You have not voted. When you don't vote, your vote will not count. But in Nigeria now, when people talk about figure manipulation or vote manipulation or election malpractices, it has reduced to its barest minimum.
Okay.
So from 2023, was it 2023 or
The last
20,
election.
we used beavers.
Yes.
I think we used beavers.
Beaver started before then. It started,
Before then, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
we used it in
Majorly.
2023.
So with beavers, it has become very cumbersome to manipulate figures. Please, that's why I said that it has reduced to its barest minimum. I am not saying that votes manipulation does not exist again. It's not 100% yet, but we have experienced so much progress to the extent that figure manipulation has been very reduced. And how do I know? I know because what we now have is vote buying, which is illegal as well. But when people talk about vote does not count again, votes now count.
Okay, so it's vote buying and vote selling now.
Thank you. I'm happy that you mentioned vote selling, because we've always talked about vote buying. What about those who are selling their votes? So the buyer is not the only culprit. The seller is as well a culprit. So votes now count. And I tell people that one of the indices or one of the ways you will know that your votes now count is because politicians now come to you to buy your vote. If they don't value it, why are they coming to buy the vote? If they feel they can manipulate those figures, they will not come to you again.
That's true.
And so that's what we see now. If you have followed the off-cycle elections after 2023, one of the major malpractices we've been experiencing is not even ballot snatching again. It's not even real thuggery. It is not thuggery as we used to have it back then. What we now have is that, and that's why even the INEC now deploys, you now have EFCC at polling units, you now have ICPC. And those who have followed the off-cycle election, we've seen that even people have been arrested at polling units with load of cash and all of that, just for vote buying. So I am saying all of this, that people should understand now that their votes now count. And that's why they must come out.
Okay.
And not engage in vote selling. Do not sell your vote. I have asked people, like, how much will they give you for your vote? Maybe the highest I've heard for one vote, highest, and it's not common, maybe 100,000 naira. So what we are saying is that once you collect 100,000 naira,
for the next
4 years, don't ask for roads, don't ask for public health care, do not ask for many public goods that government can do. So if 100,000 naira cannot take care of you for 4 years, then don't collect it. And that's the highest I've seen.
Okay, what institutions where the candidates that are presented by political parties are not the choices of the people, and they are there, and those ones move to another party, and because they need to be lured, they also go there to use money to lure them to vote for them. Don't you think that could be another factor?
Well, the factor is this, and that's why it's very important that as electorate, we also need to do our due diligence. Sir, if you are coming to serve, if you really have passion to serve, when people say they don't want you, why should you fight? Because the truth of the matter is that if I really want to serve, and you have said that you are not voting for me, I have not lost. It is the populace that I have lost, because I have what to offer to you to make either the community or the state or the federal constituency or the senatorial district better. So if you have refused me, maybe in the party, For me, this is my personal opinion. This is how I see it. If you have said, this party, you don't want me, there are many other things we can even do in a party. It is not compulsory that I contest.
Okay.
If I'm in a party, it is not compulsory. There are other ways I can contribute to my party. There are other ways I can contribute to my society. We have seen people who contested as governor before, and they were not given the ticket, and they were given other appointments. And in that place, in that position where they were given, they offered service. And they changed, the face. So for me, it is not compulsory that I am elected, either as a local government chairman or as a state governor or whatever. I can also serve in different places, which that platform, that political platform, can also offer me.
Okay, as we round up now, because time is not on our side, what do you make of the Electoral Act, the 2026 the amended Electoral Act, and the role of opposition for a vibrant democratic system?
Well, the role of opposition for a vibrant, I feel that oppositions have to also brace up, because what we are experiencing now, for me and many Nigerians, are that the current opposition parties are really not serious. They are not getting their acts right together.
How do you mean that they're not serious?
They have seen how they have conducted themselves so far. They have seen how people came into party, flaying the constitution of the party and then taking over that party. And at the end of the day, because of the illegality, we had a lot of court cases here and there. And at the end of the day, we've seen what has become of them. And we have seen that a party who is not even up to 6 months, the coalition or what the party is not up to 6 or 8 months, breaking up again, some have moved to another party. So the opposition parties need to get their hearts right together so that they can provide a viable opposition for Nigerians.
Okay, as we round up now, let's look at consensus arrangement. Some parties use that now, but in just 30 seconds, many political parties are going for it in line with the Electoral Act.
Yes.
Or some are saying, look, we'll go for direct primaries.
Well, majority of the political party, the opposition or the ruling party, I see what we are saying is that 60% or 70% will go for consensus. And thank you for saying that according to the Electoral Act, it is constitutional. Consensus is constitutional. So for me, there's nothing wrong in it. It is not an illegal process. So I feel that one of the reasons is just to create peace and harmony within the party. I think that's one of the reasons, major reasons, why political parties are adopting direct primaries. People have criticized the ruling party. We have also seen that the opposition parties as well are not even using consensus. Majority of them will not even go to the direct primaries. So it is democratic, and it is good for the party that chooses. I said 70% because I know that there are areas where consensus will not work. And what the law says that if you have 14 aspirants, before you can reach consensus, all the other 13 aspirants must sign and agree to the consensus candidate. And in a situation whereby 1 out of the 13 do not sign, you have to go for the direct primary.
Yes, I'm afraid time is no longer on our side. I want to thank you so much, Lekan Oni, for being part of Talk Points today.
Thank you.
Yes, that's the much we can take on Talk Points. 767 and 112 are still the lines to always call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble and ensure that you contribute your own quota to the development of Nigeria, and of course in Lagos State too. I am Omololu Rosanwo. See you some other time.